In this video, I will talk about Thomas Edison, and this article I have taken from Wikipedia. We will talk. Thomas Alva Edison, February 11, 1847 to October 18, 1931, was an American inventor and businessman. He developed many devices in fields such as electric power generation, mass communication, sound recording, and motion pictures. These inventions, which include the phonograph, the motion pictures camera, and early version of the electric light bulb, have had a whispered impact on the modern industrialized world. He was one of the first inventors to apply the principles of organized science and teamwork to the process of inventions, working with many researchers and employees. He established the first industrial research laboratory. Edison was raised in the American Midwest early in his career. He worked as a telegraph operator, which inspired some of his earliest inventions. In 1876, he established his first laboratory facility in Menlo Park, New Jersey, where many of his early inventions were developed. He later established a botanical laboratory in Fort Myers, Florida, in collaboration with businessmen Henry Ford and Harvey S. Firestone, and the laboratory in West Oregon, New Jersey. The features the world's first film studio, the Back Maria, with 1093 US patents in his name, as well as the patents in other countries. Edison is regarded as the most prolif- uh, prolific inventor in American history. Edison married twice and fathered six children. He died in 1931 due to the complication for diabetes. He is a Albert Edison, born in February 11, 1847, Malia, Ohio, which is located in United States of America. Died in October 18, 1931, age of 84, and he died in New Jersey, which is also located in United States of America. Education: self-educated, some coursework at Cooper Union. Occupations: inventor, businessman. Years active: 1877 to 1930. So here is a six children and spouses: Mary Stilwell in 1871, died in 1884. Mina Meller M 1886. Let's talk about his early life. Thomas Edison was born in 1847 in Malia, Ohio, but grew up in the Port Michigan. After the family moved there in 1857, he was the seventh and last child of Samuel Od- Ogden Edison, 1804 to 1896, born in Marshalltown, Nova Scotia, and Nancy Matthew Elliott, 1810 to 1871, born in New York. His family lies was Dutch by way of New Jersey. The surname had originally been Edison. His great grandfather, loyalist John Edison, fled New Jersey for Nova Scotia in 1787. The family moved to Middlesex Country, Upper Canada, around 1811, and his grandfather, Capt. Samuel Edison, served with the first Middlesex militia during the War of 1812, his father Samuel Edison uh, moved to Vanya, Ontario, and fled to Ohio after his involvement in the Rebellion of 1837. Edison was taught reading, writing, and arithmetic by his mother, who used to be a social teacher. He attended school for only a few months. However, one biographer described him as a very curious child who learned most things by reading on his own. As a child, he became fascinated with technology and spent hours working on experiment at home. Edison developed hearing problems at the age of 12. The cause of the deafness has been attributed to a bout of scald fever during the childhood and recurring untreated middle ear infection. He subsequently connected elaborate facetious stories about the cause of his deafness. As he was completely deaf is one ear and barely hearing in the other. It is alleged that Edison would listen to a music player or a piano by clamping his teeth into the wood as observed the sound wave into his skull. As he got older, Edison believed his hearing loss allowed him to avoid distraction and concentrate more easily on his work. Modern days historian and medical professionals have suggested he may have had a head if it is known that early in his career he enrolled in a chemistry course of the Cooper Union for the advancement of science and art to support his work on new telegraphy system with Charles Bachelor. The appeared to have been his only enrollment in course at the institution of higher learning. Let's talk about Albert early early career. Thomas Edison began his career as a new butcher selling newspaper, candy, and vegetables on train running from Port Huron to Detroit. He turned at $50 a week profit by age 13, most of which went to buying equipment for electrical and chemical experiment. At age 15 in 1862, he saved 3-year old Jimmy Mackenzie from being struck by a runaway train. Jimmy, a station agent J.U. Mackenzie of Mount Clemma, Mackenzie, was so grateful that he trained Edison as a telegrapher operator. Edison's first telegraphy job away from Port Hardin was Stanford Junction, Ontario on the Grand Trunk Railway. He also studies qualitative analysis and conducted chemical experiment until he left the job rather than the fired after being held responsible for a new collision of new trains. Edison obtained the exclusive right to sell newspaper on the road, and with the aid of the assistants, he sent his type of printed to Grand Trunk Herald, which he sold with his other papers. The began Edison long streak an entrepreneurial venture as he discovered his talent as a businessman. Ultimately, his entrepreneurship was central to the formation of the some 14 companies including General Electric, formerly on of the largest public trade company in the world. In 1866, at the age of 19, Edison moved to Kentucky, where, as an employee of Western Union, he worked the Associated Press Bureau News Wire. Edison requested the night shift, which allowed him penalty of time to spend at his two favorite pastime, reading and experimenting. Eventually, the later preoccupation cost him his job. One night in 1867, he was working with a lead acid battery when he split sulfuric acid into the floor. It ran between the floorboard and onto his boss desk below. The next morning, Edison was fired. His first uh, patent was for the electric voice recorder, US patent 90,646 number, which has granted on June 1, 1869. Finding the little damage for the machine, Edison moved to New York work city shortly thereafter. One of his mentors during those early years was the following telegrapher and inventor named Franklin, who allowed to improvise youth to live and work in the basement of the Elizabeth, New Jersey home while Edison worked for the Samuel Laws at the Gold Indicator Company. Pope and Edison founded their own company in October 1869. Working as an electrical engineer and inventor, Edison began developing a multiple telegraphic system which could send two messages simultaneously in 1874. Let's talk about the Menlo Park Laboratory 1876 to 1806 research and development facilities. Edison's major inventions was the establishment of an industrial research lab in 1876. It was built in Menlo Park, a park of Raritan Township, now named of Edison Township in his honor. In Middlesex County, New Jersey, with the found from the sale of the Edison. After the demonstration of the telegraph, Edison was not sure that his original plan to sell it for $4,000 to $5,000 was right, so he asked Western Union to make bid. He was surprised to hear them offer $10,000, which in the today value that is the $2,69,294 in 2023, which he gratefully accepted. The quadruplex telegraph was Edison's first big finance success, and Menlo Park became the first institution set up with the specified purpose of producing constant technological innovation and involvement. Edison was legally credited with the most of the inventor produced there. Though many employees carried out research and development under his direction, his staff was generally told to carry out his direction in conducting research, and he drove them hard to produce results. William Joseph Hammer, a consulting electrical engineer, started working for Edison and began his duties as a laboratory assistant in December 1879. He assisted in experiment of the telephone, phonograph, electric railway, iron or separator, electric lighting, and other developing invention. However, Hammer worked primarily on the incandescent electric lamp and was put in the charge of test and record on the device. In 1880, he was appointed chief engineer of the Edison lamp work in his first year. The plant under general manager Francis Robin Upton turned out 50,000 lamps. According to Edison, Hammer was a pioneer of the electric lighting. Frank J. a compliment competent mathematician and farmer officer, was recruited by Edward H. Johnson and joined the Edison organization in 1883. One of contribution to the Edison laboratory on Menlo Park was the expand Edison mathematics methods. Despite the common belief that Edison did not use mathematics, always of his notebook revealed that he was the user of mathematical analysis conducted by his assistants such as Robin, for example, determining the critical parameter of his electric lighting system including lamp resistancy by any analysis of law and economics. Nearly all of Edison patents was utility patents which were protected for 70 years and including invention of process that are electrical, mechanical or chemical in nature. About a dozen were design patent which protect an ornamental design for up to 14 years. As in most patent, the invention he described were improvement over prior art. The photograph patent, in contrast, was unprecedented in describing the first device to record and reduce sound. In just over a decade, Edison Menlo Park Laboratory had expanded the occupied two city books. Edison said he wanted the lab to have a stock almost every conceivable material. A newspaper article printed in 1887 revealed that seriousness of his claim, stating the lab contained 8,000 kinds of chemical, every kind of screw made, every size of needle, every kind of the wire hair or humans, horse, hogs, cow, rabbits, goats, mix, camel, silk in every texture, cocoons, various kind of hoops, shark teeth, deer horn, tortoise shell, cork, vanish, and oil ostrich feather, a peacock's tail, jet, rubber, all orcs, and the list goes on. Over the decks, Edison display a place with uh, Reynolds' famous quotation: "There is no expedient with which a man will not restore to avoid the real labor of thinking." The slogan was repeatedly posted at several other locations throughout the facility. In Menlo Park, Edison had created the first industrial laboratory concerned with creating knowledge and the controlling its application. Edison name is registered on 1093 patents, which I had mentioned before also. Let's talk about the phonograph. This is a picture of the Edison. He is holding his phonographs. Edison with the second model of his phonograph in Matthew Bardi of Studio of Washington DC in April 1878. Edison began his career as an inventor in New Jersey with the automatic repeater and his other improved telegraphic device, but the invention the first gained him wider notice was the phonograph in 1877. This accomplishment was so unexpected by the public at large as the appear almost magical Edison become known as the Wizard of Menlo Park. His first phonograph recorded an tinfoil around a grooved cylinder despite the limited sound quality and that the recording could be played only a few times. The photograph made Edison a celebrity. Joseph Henry, president of the National Academy of Science and one of the most renowned electrical scientists in the US, described Edison as the most ingenious inventor in his country or in any other. In April 1878, Edison traveled to Washington to demonstrate the photograph before the National Academy of Science Congressman Sensation and US Presidents. Hi, the Washington Post described Edison as a genius and his presentation as a sense that will live in history. Although Edison obtained a patent for the phonograph in 1878, he died little to develop it until Alexander Graham Bell and Charles Tra- uh, Trenter produced a phonograph like a device in 1880 after 2 years of his phonograph used wax coated carbon cylinder. Let's talk about the carbon telegraph transmitted. He is also developed by the Edison. In 1876, Edison began work to improve the microphone for the telephones, all the time called a transmitter, by developing a carbon microphone which consists of the two metal plates separated by uh, granule of carbon that would change resistance with the pressure of sound wave. A steadily direct current is passed between the plates through the granules, and the varying resistance result in a modulation of the current, creating a varying electric current that reproduce the varying pressure of the sound wave. Up to that point, microphones such as the one developed by Philip and Alexander Graham Bell work by the generated as weak current. The carbon microphone work by modulating a direct current and subsequently using a transform to the transfer the signal so generated to the transphone line. Edison was one of many inventors working on the problems of creating a usable microphone for telephony by having it modulate an electric current pass through it. His work was concurrent with Emily Berliner loose contact carbon transmitter, who lost a later patent case against Edison over the carbon transmitter's invention, and Davis Edward Hugh studied and published paper on his physics of losing contact carbon transmitted work that did not bother to patent. Edison used the carbon microphone concept in 1877 to create an improved telephone to Western Union. In 1886, Edison found a way to improve the Bell telegram microphone on that used loose contact ground carbon. With his discovery that his work far better in the carbon was roasted. This type of was put in used 1890 and was used in all telephones along with the bell received until the 1980s. Let's talk about the electric light. Main articles: incandescent light bulb, where this article taken. In 1878, Edison began working on a system of electrical illumination, something he hoped could compete with gas and oil based lighting. He began by tackling the problem of creating a long distance in incandescent lamp, something that would be needed in indoor used. However, Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb. In 1840, British scientist Warner Rule developed an efficient light bulb using a coiled platinum filament, but the high cost of the platinum kept the bulb from becoming a uh, commercial success. Many other inventors had also described incandescent lamp, including Volt's demonstrate of glowing wire in 1800, an inventory by Henry Woodward and Matthew Davidson. Other who developed early and commercially empirical incandescent electric lamp, including Humphrey Davy, James, and these are the researchers. The patent described several ways of creating the carbon filament, including cotton and line thread wood, splint paper coiled in various ways. It was not until several months after the plant was granted that Edison and his team discovered that the carbonized bamboo filament could last over 1200 hours. In 1878, Edison formed the Edison Electric Light Company in New York with several finance including P. Morgan and the member of the Vanderbilt family. Edison made the first public demonstration of his incandescent light bulb on December 31st, 1879 in Menlo Park. It was during this time that he said, "We will make electricity so cheap that only the rich will burn candles." Henry Willard, president of the Oregon Railroad and Navigation Company, attended Edison 1879 demonstration. Willard was impressed and requested Edison install his electric lighting system abroad. Willard's company's new steamer, the Columbia, although hesitate at the first. Edison agreed to Willard's request. Most of the work was completed in May 1880, and the Columbia went to New York with where Edison and his personnel installed Columbia a new lighting system. The Columbia was Edison the first commercial publication for his incandescent light bulb. The Edison equipment was improved from Columbia in 1895. In 1818, Louis Latimer, a draftsman, an expert witness in patent litigation, began working for United States Electric Lighting Company run by Edison rival Harman S. Maximize. While working to Maxime, Latimer invented a process for making carbon filaments for light bulbs and helped install broad scale lighting system for New York City, Philadelphia, Madrid, and London. Latimer holds a patent for the electric lamp issued in 1880 and second patent for the process and manufacturing carbon the filament used in incandescent light bulb issued in 1882. On October 8, 1883, the US Patent Office ruled that Edison's patent was based on the work William E. Sayer, as was thereafter invalid. Like litigation continued to nearly 6 years. In 1885, Latimer switched camp and started working with Edison. On October 6, 1889, a judge ruled that Edison electric light improvement claim for a filament of carbon of light resistance was valid. To avoid the possible court battle with yet another competitor, Joseph Savan, who had an 1880 British patent on a similar incandescent electric lamp, and he and Swan formed a joint company called Edison to manufacture and market the invention of Britain. The incandescent light bulb patented by Edison also began to gain whispered popularity in Europe as well as Manhattan Theatre in Brno, in what is now the Republic, opened in 1882 and was the first public building in the world to use Edison electric lamp. Francia Gel, Edison assistant in the invention of lamp, supervised the installation. In September 2010, a sculpture of the three gained light bulb was erected in Brno in front of the theatre. The first Edison light bulb in the Nordic countries was installed at the weaving hall of the Finalson's textile factory in Tampere, Finland in March 1882. In 1901, Edison attempted that Pan American Exposition of Buffalo, New York. His company, the Edison Manufacturing Company, was given the task of installing the electric light on the various buildings and structures that were built for the exposition. At night, Edison made a panorama photography of the illuminated building. Electric power distribution. Let's talk about this. After the device, commercially vi- viable electric light bulb on October 21, 1879, Edison developed an electrical utility to compete with the exciting gas light utility on December 17, 1880. He founded the Edison Illuminating Company, and during the 1880s he planted a system for electricity distribution. The company established the first owned electric utility on September 4, 1882 in Pierce Street, New York City. His 600 kW steam power generation station, parallel street station, electric power distribution system was switched on, providing 110 volts direct current initially to 59 customers in Lower Manhattan, quickly growing to 508 customers with 10,164 lamps. The power station was decommissioned in 1895. 8 months earlier, in January 1882, to demonstrate feasibility, Edison had switched on the 93 kilowatt full steam generating power station at Holborn Viaduct in London. This was the smaller 110 supply system, eventually supplying 3,000 street light and the number of nearly private dwelling, but was shut down in September 1886 as uneconomic since he was unable to extend it the permission. On January 19, 1883, the first standardized incandescent electric lighting system employed overhead wire began service. Roselle, New Jersey. War or current? Let's talk about the war and current. Main article which is taken by the war of current. That's why the author gave the name of the war and current. As addition, explain his direct current power delivery system. He received stiff competition for companies installing alternative current system. From the early 1880s, alternative current or lighting system for steel and the large space has been an expanding business in the US. With the development of transformer in Europe and by the Washington Electric in the US in 1885 and 1886, it became possible to transmit AC long distance over the thinner and the cheaper wire, and set up down reduce the voltage of the destination for distribution to use. This allowed alternative current to the use to street lighting and the lighting to the small business and domestic customers. The market Edison patent low voltage direct current in incandescent lamp system was designed to supply. Edison direct current empire suffered from one of the chief drawback. It was the suitable only for the light density of the customer found in large cities. Edison direct current planted could not deliver electricity to customers more than 1 mile for the plant and the left a path work of unsupplied customer between plants. Small cities and rural areas could not afford the Edison style system, leaving a large part of the market with electric service. Uh, Alternative current companies extended into his gap. Edison expressed view that alternative current was unworkable and the light voltage used were dangerous. A George Westinghouse installed his first alternative current system in 1886. Thomas Edison struck out personally against his chief revival sitting, just as certain as that Westinghouse will kill a customer within the 6 months after he put in a system of any size. He has got a new things and it will require a great deal of experiment to get it working practically. Many reasons have been suggested for Edison anti-AC stance. One nation it is that the inventor could not grasp the more abstract theoretical behind alternative current and was trying to avoid developing system he did not understand. Edison also appeared to have been worried about the high voltage for many stall alternative current system killing customers and hurting the sale of electric power system in general. The primary reason was the Edison electric based their design on low voltage direct current and switching a standard after they had installed over 1000 was in Edison mind out of the question. By the end of 1887, Edison Electrical was losing market share to Westinghouse, who had built 68 AC based power station to addition 121 direct current based station. To make matter worse for Edison, the Thomas Huston Electric Company of Line Massachusetts, another AC based competitor, built 22 power stations. Parallel to expanding, the competition between the Edison and the alternative current companies was rising. Public furor over a series of deaths in the spring of 1888 caused by the pole mounted high voltage alternative current lines. This turned into a media frenzy against high voltage alternative current and the seemingly greedy and callous lighting companies that used it. Edison took advantage of public perception of alternative current as dangerous and joined with self-styled New York alternative current cluster Harlow P. Brown in the pro- propaganda companies, aiding Brown in the public electrocution of animals with AC and supported legislation to control and survey limited alternative current installation and voltage to the point of making it an inefficient power delivery system in what was now begun referred to as the war of the current. This developed of the electric chair was used in an attempt to portray alternative current as having the greater lethal potential that direct current and steamer washing house vice Edison colliding with Brown and Washinghouse chief alternative current revival. The Thomas Huston Electric Company, to ensure the first electric chair was powered by the Westinghouse alternative current generator. Edison was becoming the marginalized in his own company, having lost majority control in the 1889 merge for formed Edison General Electric in 1890. He told the President Henry Willard he thought it was the time to retire from the lighting business and move to an iron and defining project that preoccupied his time. Addition domestic anti alternative current value were no longer controlling the company. By 1889, Edison Electric owned subsidiaries was lobbying to add alternative current power transmissions to their system and October 1890. Edison machine work began developing alternative current based equipment. Cutthroat competition and patent battle were bleeding of cash in the competition companies, and the idea of the merge was being put forward in financial circles. The war of the current ended in 1892 when the financier J.P. Morgan engineer emerged Edison General Electric with the main alternative current based revival. The Thomas Huston Company that put the board of Thomas Huston the change to new company called General Electric. General Electric now controls three-quarter of the US electric business and would compete with the Westinghouse for the AC market. Edison served as a figurehead on the company board of directors for a few years before selling his shares. Other invention and project: Fl- fluoroscopy. Edison is credited with the design and the producing the first commercial available fluoroscope, a machine that use X-ray that take radiograph until the Edison discovered that calcium tangesta fluo, fluo, fluoroscopy screen produce brighter image than the barium platino aid screen originally used by the Rongton. The technology was capable of producing only very faint image. The fundamental design of Edison fluoroscopy is still in use today. Although Edison abandoned the project after nearly losing the own eyesight and seriously in injuring the assistants, daily Daly made himself an enthusiastic human guinea pig. The fluoroscopy projected and exposed by the position does not reflected later died at the age of 39 of the injury related to the exposure included the medicine cancer. In 1993 a Sheikh Edison said, "Don't talk to me about x-ray. I am afraid of them." Nonetheless, his work was important in the development of technology still used today. Tachymeter. Edison invented a highly sensitive device that the name the tachymeter was measure the infrared radiation. His impulse for the creation was the desire to measure the heat from the solar corona. During the total solar escape on July 29, 1878, the device was not patented since Edison could find no practical mask market applicant for it. Telegraph improvement. The key of Edison initially reputation and success was his work in the field of telegraphy. With knowledge gained from years of working as a telegrapher operator, he learned the basic of electricity. The together with his studies in chemistry at the Cooper Union allowed him to make his early fortune with the stock ticker, the first electricity based broadcast system. His innovation also included the development of the uh, quadruplex, the first system who could stimulated transmitted with the message through a single wire. Motion picture. The Leonard fight in June 1894, each of the six 1 minute rounded recorded by the kinescope was made the available to exhibitor for $22.50. Customers who watched the final round saw Leonard score a knockdown. Motion picture. Edison was gained the patent for a motion picture camera labeled the kin- kintograph. He did the electromechanical design with the employees William Kennedy, a photographer, work on the photographic and the optical development, much of the credit of the invention along the discussion. In 1891, Thomas Edison built of the kinescope of the peep-hole viewer. This device was installed in penny arcades where the people could watch short simple film. The kinestographer and kinestoscope were both first publicly exhibited May 20, 1891. In April 1896, Thomas and with Vitascope manufactured by the Edison factory and market. In addition, name was used to project motion pictures in public screening in New York City. Later, the exhibited motion pictures, the voice soundtrack of cylinder recording mechanically synchronized with the film. Officially, the kinescope entered Europe when wealthy American businessman Living T. Bush (1869 to 1948) bought from the Continental Commerce Companies Frank J. and Joseph D. because of dozen of machine Bush placed from October 17, 1894, the first kinescope on London at the same time. In the French company Kinescope Edison Michel exchange bought these machines for the market in the French. In the 3 months of the 1897, the Continental Commerce Company sold hundred of Kingscope in Europe, that is the Netherlands and the Italy. In the Germany and the Austria-Hungary, the kinetoscope was introduced by the Deuce Edison. Kingstop, founded by the Ludwig Stolberg. The first Kingstop arrived in began at the fair in 1895. The Edison Kingscope Francia, a begun company, was founded in the Brussels on January 15, 1895 with the rights to sell the Kingstop of Manca. French and French colonies, the main inventors in this company, and Blagan alive. The French look the innovative in strength his business. He has contact with Leon Gromont and the American Mulscope and biography. In 1898, he also became a shareholder on the biography and mustoscope company to France. Edison Film Studio made early 1200 films. The majority of the production were short films showing the everything for Arcobots to Paradise to Fire Call, including titles such as The Fred 1894, The Kiss 1986, The Great Train Robbery 1990. These are the films which is the features by Edison Film Studio. All the film business explained the competing exhibition routinely copied and exhibited in other film. Better protect the copyright of his film. Edison deposited printed of them on the long spread of the photographic paper with the US Copyright Office. Many of these paper rights survived longer can better condition than the actual film of this era. In 1908, Edison started the motion picture patent company which was the conglomerate of nine major film study commonly known as the Edison Trust. Thomas Edison was the honorary fellow of the Acoustical Society of the America, which was the founded in 1929. Edison said the favorite movie was the birth of the nation. He thought that talk had spoiled everything for him. There isn't any good acting on the screen. The concentrate on the voice now have forgotten how to act. I can sense it more than you become. I am deaf. His favorite stairs were Mary Pickford and Claire Brown. Let's talk about the mining. Starting in the late 1817, Edison became interesting and involving with mining. High-grade iron ore was scarcer on the east coast, the United States, and Edison tried to mine low grade ores. Edison developed a process using the roller and the cluster that could pulverized rock up to the 10 ton. The dust was then the sent between the gained magnet that would pull the iron one rod from the dust. Despite the failure of the mining company, the Edison owned mining companies. Edison used some of the material and equipment to produce cement. In 1901, Edison visited of the industrial exhibition in the Sudbury area in Ontario, Canada, and through nickel and cobalt deposited there could be used in his production of electrical equipment. He returned as a mining prospector and is credited with the original discovery of the Falcorbridge ore body. His attempt to mine the ore body were not successfully and he abandoned his mining camp in 1903. A street in Falcorbridge as well as the Edison building which serve as heat office as a name of him. Let's talk about the rechargeable battery. In the late 1890s, Edison worked as a developing a lighter, more efficiently rechargeable battery. At that time, coal and accumulator. He looked on the time of something customer could use to power their photographs, but saw other use to the improved battery, including electric automobiles. The then available lead acid rechargeable battery were not very efficient and that market was already tied up by other companies of so Edison pursued using the alkaline instead of acid. He had his lab work on many type of material going through the some 10,000 combination, eventually sitting on the nickel iron combination. Beside the experimenting, Edison also probably had access to the 1899 patent of the nickel iron battery by the switch inventor Waldemar Junger. Edison obtained a US and European patent for his nickel iron battery in 1901 and founded the Edison Storage Battery Companies. And by 1904, it is 450 people working there. The first rechargeable battery they produced were for electric cars, but there were many defects that customers complained about the product. When the capital of the company was exhausted, Edison paid for the companies with his private money. Edison did not demonstrate a mature product until 1910. A very efficient and durable nickel iron battery with the nickel iron battery was never very successful. By the time it was the ready to electric cars was disappearing and lead acid batteries had become the standard for the turning over the gas power car standard motor. Let's talk about his chemical invention. At the start of the World War First, the American chemical industry was primitive. Most chemical were imported from Europe. The outbreak of war in August 1914 resulted in the shortage of the imported chemical. One of the particular importance of the addition was phenol, which was used the market phonograph records presumably as phenolic resin of the bakelite type. At the same time, phenol came from coal as a byproduct of coke. Even the gas of manufacture gas for the lighting, phenol could be nitrated to peracic acid converted to ammonious peracic pacrates, a stock resistant, high explosive, suitable for use in artillery shell. Most phenol had been imported from the Britain, but with war, Parliament blocked exports and diverted most of the production of ammonium picrates. Britain also blocked supplies from Germany. Edison responded by undertaking production of phenols and his self-laker facility, using the process and developing his chemist. His built two plants with a capacity of 6 tons of phenols per day. Production began the first week of the September. 1 month after hostilities began the Europe, he built two plants to produce raw material and replacing a supply previously from Germany. Edison manufactured which previously had been supplied by the German Dazed Trust. Other wartime product including XLNA, and these are the product which is Perex wartime shortage made these venture profitable in 1915. His production capacity was fully committed by mid-year. Phenol was the critical material because two derivatives were in high growth phases. Bakelite, the original thermoist plastic, had been invented in 1909. Aspirin too was the pentrol derivative invented in 1899. It had become the blockbuster drug. Bayer had required a plant to manufacture in the US in but struggled to find petrol to keep their plant running during the war. Edison was able to obtain. Bayer relied on the chemist fabric von Hendry and converted phenol to salicylic acid, which they converted to aspirin. It is said that German companies bought up supply of phenol to back production of anonymous picrate. Edison preferred not to sell phenol for military use. He sold his surplus of Bayer, who had it converted to salicylic acid by Haydn, some of which was exported. Let's talk about the spirit phone. In 1992, Edison spoke an American magazine saying that he had been working on a device for some time to see it was possible to communicate with Dad. Edison said the device would work on scientific principles, not by an accurate means. The press had a field day over Edison's remark. The actual nature of his invention remained a mystery. Of there were no details revealed to the public in 2015. Philips Boudin, a French journalist, found a copy of Edison diary of the thrift store with the chapter not found in the previously published edition. The new chapter detailed Edison theories of the afterlife and the science life basic by the which communication with the dead might be achieved. Final year. Henry Ford, the automobile magnate, later lived in a few hundred feet away from Edison at his winter retreat in Fort Myers. Ford once worked as an engineer for the Edison illuminating company of Detroit, and man Edison as a convention of the affiliated Edison illuminating companies in Brooklyn, New Jersey in 1896. Edison was impressed with Ford in internal combination engineer automobile and encouraged its development. They were frightened until the Edison that Edison and Ford undertook annual motor company strike from 1914 to 1924. Harvey, Firestone, and naturalistic John Borg also participated. In 1982, Edison joined the Fort Myers Civiation Club. He believed strongly in the organization, writing that the Civiation Club is doing things, big things for the community, state, and nation, and the certain consider it an honor to the number it's the rank. He was an achieved member of the club until his death, sometime bringing Henry Ford to club meeting. Edison was active in businessmen right up to the end, just month before his death, and inaugurated suburban electric train service from Hoboken to Montclair, Dro- Dover, and New Jersey. Electric transmission for this service was main and overhead century system using the direct current which Edison had compassed despite the freight condition. Edison was the throttle and the first electric MU unit train to depart Lackawanna Terminal in Horton in September 1930, driving the train the first mile through the Horton Yard and its way the South Org. The first feet of the car would serve commutes in North Jersey for the next 54 years until their retirements in 1984. A plague commemorating Edison inaugural ride can be seen today in the writing room of Lackawanna Terminal in Hopcon, which is presented operated by NJ Transit. Edison was the said to have been influenced by the popular fact died in his last few years. For only liquid he consumed was a pint of milk every 3 hours. He is reported to have believed his diet would restore his debt. However, his tale is doubtful. In 1930, the year before Edison died, Mina said in an interview about his correct eating in one of his greatest hobbies. He also said that during one of the periodic greatest scientific adventure, Edison would be up to a 7, have breakfast at 8, and the barely home for lunch or dinner, implying that they continue to have all three. Edison became the owner of his Milan, Ohio birthplace in 1906. On his last visit in 1923, he was the reported shocked to find his old home still lit by lamps and candles. That Edison died of complication of diabetes on October 18, 1931. In his home, Glenmount is like Valley Park in the Western Oak, New Jersey, which he had purchased in 1886, was the wedding gift for Minor Reeves Stephen Urban official at the funeral. Edison is buried behind the home. Addition the last breath in reportedly contained in a test tube at the Henry Ford Museum near Detroit. Ford reportedly convinced Charles Edison to seal a test tube of air in the invention of room shortage after that as a memento. A plaster that marks and the cluster edition and the cast edition hands were also made. Mina died in 1947. Marriage and children. In December 25, 1871, at the age of 24, Edison married 16-year-old Mary Steville, 1855 to 1884. From he had met 2 months earlier. She was an employee of one of his shop. They had three children. Maria Ellison Edison 1973 to 1965 nicknamed Dot. Thomas Alva Edison that is 1876 to 1935, and William Leslie Edison 1879 to 18 1937 inventor, graduated of the Sheffield Science School, IL 900. Mary Edison died at the age of 29 on August 9, 1884, of unknown cause, of possible form of the brain tumor of the morphia overdose. Doctor frequently prescribe morphine to the woman in those years of treat a variety of causes, and research believed that the symptom could have been from morphine poisoning. Edison generally preferred the spending time in the laboratory to begin with his family. On the February 24, 1886, at the age of 29, Edison married the 20-year-old Mania Miller, 1865 to 1947, of Arcona, Ohio. She was the daughter of the inventor of Louis Melia, co-founder of the Cali- uh, Catuque Institution, and before factor and Methodist. Cha- uh, they also had three children together. Edison, Madalena Edison, 1800 to 1979, who married John Edison, and these are the daughter and their children. This married and this son. Main, Many Olivia Thomas Edison, dying on August 24, 1947. Wanting to become the inventor but not having the much an aptitude for it. Thomas Edison's son, Thomas Alva Edison Jr., become a problem for his father and his father's business. Starting in 1890, Thomas Jr. become the involved in the snake oil product and shady and fraudulent entrepreneurship, producing product being sold to the public. At the latest Edison discovery, the situation becomes so had that Thomas SR had be take his son to court to shop and practice. Finally, agreeing to pay Thomas Jr. to allowance at $37, equivalent of the $1.187 in 2023 per week, in exchange for non using the Edison name. The son began using the aliases such as the Barton William Thomas, experiencing alcoholism, depression, and ill health, work as a several manual jobs, but by 1931, towards the end of his life, the Wood obtained the role of Edison Company thanks to the invention of his half brother Charles. The religion and metaphysics. Historian Paul Israel has characterized Edison as a free thinker. Edison was heavily influenced by Thomas Paine, The Age of Reason. Edison deafness pains scientific dissim, saying he has been called an atheist, but atheist he was not. Paine believed in a supreme intelligence as representing the idea which other men offer, expressed by the name of the deity. In 1876, Edison joined the Theosophical Society in New Jersey, but according to its founder, Helen Blavatsky, he was not very active member. In an October 2, 1910 interview in the New York Times magazine, Edison started nature. It was what we knows. We do not knows the God of religions, and nature is not kind or merciful of loving. If God made me, the fable God, and the three qualities of which I spoke, mercy, kindness, love. He also made the fish I catch and eat. And where do him mercy, kindness, and love? For the fish come in. No nature made us, nature did it all, not the God of the religion. Edison was labored and atheist to those remarkable, and although he did not allow himself to be drawn into the controversy publicly, he certified himself in a private letter. You have misunderstood the whole article because you jump to the conclusion that is defined the existence of God. There is no such denial. What you call God, I call nature the supreme intelligence that rule matter. All the article state is that it is the doubtful in many my opinion in our intelligence, our soul, or whatever one may call it alive hereafter as an entirely and depressed back begun from the where it come scattered among the cell of which we are made. He also started, I don't believe in the God of the theologians, but there is a supreme intelligence I do not doubt. In 1920, Edison said of a media sensation when he told Forbes, an American magazine that was working on a spirit and beyond the allow communication with the lead of story which one of the newspaper and magazine repeated. Edison later disclaimed the idea, telling the New York Times in 1926 that I really had nothing to tell him, but I hated to disappointed him, so I thought up that story about communication with spirit, but it was all a joke. Let's talk about politics. Edison was the supported of women's suffrage. He said in 1915, every woman in this country is going to have the vote. Edison notably assigned into the statement supporting women's suffering, which was published to counter anti-suffering literature spread by Senator James Edgar Martin. Nonviolence was key the Edison political and moral view, and when asked to serve as a naval consultant for War One, he specified he would work only one defensive weapon and later noted, I am proud of the fact that I never invented weapons to kill. Edison's philosophy on non-violence extended to animals was well about which he started. Non-violence lead to the highest aesthetics, which he is the goal of the evaluation until he stop harming all over living begin. We are still average. He was the vegetarian but not vegan in actual practice. At least near the end of his life, following a tour of the Europe in 1911, Edison spoken negatively about the belligerent nationalism that he had censored in every country he visited. Edison was the advocate the monetary reform in the United States. He was the ordinary opposed the golden standard and debt-based money. Famously, he was quotes in the New York Times and citing gold in a relic of Julius an interest in is an invention of Saturn. In the same article, he expounded upon the absurdity of the monetary system in which the taxpayer of the United States in need of loan can be complicated to pay in return, perhaps doubt the principle of even greater sum due to the interest. Addition argued that if the government can reproduce the doubt based money, it could equally as well produce money that was credited to the taxpayer. In May 1922, he published a proposal entitled A Proposed Amendment to the Federal Reserve Banking System. In it, he detailed an explanation of a commodity backed uh, black currency in which the Federal Reserve would issue interest free currency to farmers based on the value of commodities they produced during the ability tour that he took with friend and allowed the inventor Henry Ford. He spoke publicity about the desire for monetary reform for insight. He corresponded with the prominent academic and banking professionals. In the end, however, Edison's proposal failed to find support and were abandoned. These are award which is awarded by the Edison. The following is an incomplete list of award given the Edison during the lifetime and the his career. So these are all the awards and the uh, common popular culture people who work with the Edison. These are all the people who work with the Edison, and these are the group of 1981 by employees, the other associated Thomas Edison. So this is talk about all about the Thomas Edison.